Hey guys, welcome back to Meteor Pulse. I'm your host, Isabel Perea.
And I'm Mia Nunez. On this episode, we interviewed Mr. Brogan, Miss Vogel, and Coach Kubek.
Hope you enjoy. Hey guys, welcome back. So over the past couple of weeks, we've had our 6th Chick Evan recipients. We've had our drama play. It's called Typecast, and I heard that went pretty well.
Yeah.
And then we have our National Spanish Honor Society and our National Honor Society inductees. So congratulations to all those who joined that team.
Yeah, cool. And in sports, we've had spring sports been going on. We're in the middle of the season right now. It's been going pretty well. Shout out baseball, softball, lacrosse, track, all our spring sports teams. Hopefully, we hope that they continue to have a good season. And looking a little bit in the future, we're about to be on spring break. So thank God for that. We're going to be doing a lot over spring break, even though, we're not here. Our softball team is going to Florida and our baseball team is going to Memphis. So good luck to them. I'm on the softball team, so I'm excited to go. But yeah.
I'm going to be jealous of that Florida weather down there, Mia.
Yeah.
But coming up in this interview that we have Mr. Brogan talking about his Gettysburg field trip, and then Ms. Vogel about the peer ministry side, and then Mr. Kubek about the expectations for the season. Hope you enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone. It's me, Nunez, and I'm here with Mr. Brogan.
Hey, everybody.
Recently, Mr. Brogan took his Civil War class on a trip to Gettysburg.
Yep, we left here last Wednesday, and we drove, spent the night just outside Pittsburgh. Thursday morning, we got up, drove 3 hours over the Appalachian Mountains, just south of Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where Flight 93 crashed. Visited Antietam, spent the day at Antietam on Thursday. Thursday night, we spent the night in Frederick, Maryland. Went to Golden Corral for dinner, all you could eat. Friday, we drove in the rain to Washington, D.C., parked right next to the Potomac River. The school bus was surrounded by the cherry blossoms. We visited Arlington, the Lincoln Memorial. Then Friday night, we drove to Gettysburg, ate at Tommy's Pizza for dinner, all the pizza you could eat. And then on Saturday, we spent the day at Gettysburg. And on Sunday, we drove home.
How long have you been doing the Gettysburg trip for?
This is the 9th trip that we've taken. It started in 2011. There were a couple of years that we were in timeout, and now we're back doing it every year.
Is this something you want to continue?
Oh, I would love it. Oh, for sure. I wanna continue doing this because my family's getting sick of me dragging them every year. So if I could drag some new people to the battlefield every year, it's really not about me going to the battlefield. I've been there, not that I know a whole lot about the battlefields, but it's about taking future generations and igniting a passion in history and showing the sacrifice that people did. Here's what someone said. One of the guides, historians, Mr. Sagel, said this at Antietam years ago. There's no better way to honor those who sacrificed so much than to visit where their sacrifice took place. And by visiting battlefields, it could be Normandy in Europe. It could be here in the United States with Civil War or American Revolution battlefields. There's no better way to honor those soldiers who made the sacrifice and honor their families who may not have been on the front lines, but that they had to sacrifice with their loved ones being gone and maybe never coming home.
How many students did you take this year?
Does Mr. Hopkins count as a student or does he count as an adult?
I want to say it counts as an adult.
Okay, so we took 12 students and there were 3 adults that went on the trip. Mr. Wood, Mr. Hopkins, and myself.
Do you take new adults every year or is it just you?
Mr. Wood and I have done this trip. Mr. Stevenson's been on the trip. I would say Mr. Wood and I have done it the most. Last year we took Mr. Dowling. This year Mr. Hopkins. And it's really exciting. Mr. Dowling and Mr. Hopkins had the same excitement that the students had at Golden Corral, on the battlefield. They had that same excitement being there. Like Mr. Hopkins hasn't been in Washington, D.C. in so many years. And the first place he went when we had some individual time is he went to the Watergate Hotel. And that's a big part of the class he teaches with the Nixon presidency. Last time Mr. Hopkins was at Gettysburg, he sat on a cannon. It was like 40 years ago, probably longer than that. Probably the war just ended. And he was there on the battlefield, and he sat on a cannon, and he brought this picture. He's probably 6 years old.
Oh.
And so for him to go back and see that, and to see the faces, and when you students hear the stories of what took place there, is kind of cool. So we try to take different teachers every year. Mr. Shergan and President Turpak are really generous, and they allow the teachers, to go with and everything.
What was your highlight from this year?
Oh boy, my highlight from this
Besides
year,
Golden Corral.
besides Golden Corral, good point. Yeah, all you could eat Jello. My highlight this year, I just goes back to like seeing, like, us on the battlefields, and the people that we meet saying, we look forward to seeing you next year. Because that means that there was a connection between our hosts, our historians, and our students. When they feel that, that's a success for us, and that's a success for me, because it's not really about, I'm going to Gettysburg with or without them. I'm going to go in the summer, I'm going to go on. But taking them, the students, is really the highlight.
I heard you guys met a kind of celebrity on the trip. Can you talk about that?
Would that be the celebrity like that does the podcast? Yep. So we met Matt Kellery from the Addressing Gettysburg podcast, who we Zoomed with in my class last year, and we just happened to run into him and Matt Atkinson, one of the chief historians from the National Park Service. They're both named Matt, and so I saw him in the bookstore when we were kind of finishing up our day at Gettysburg at the museum bookshop. And I said to him, "Hey, Matt," and he recognized us right away because we had some DSL stuff on. And he started chatting with us, and it was really great. Like, he had a prior history with us, and we probably spoke. He wasn't in the schedule, but we spent probably a good half hour with him. We left, the visitor center closes at 5, and we left at 5:10. We were probably with him for a good half hour, even after the visitor center closed. All the, they were cleaning up, and he was wonderful. Just talking about, he was talking about a lot of what's going on in the world today. Are there similarities between the 1850s and 1860s to what's taking place in Washington, D.C. and in the world today? And our kids really, I think that was like that, like at Christmas when you think you're all done opening your gifts and you get that one last gift to open, and it's really kind of cool. That was kind of like the last gift. He's kind of hip, he's kind of like had this vest on, he had cowboy boots, he had this hat, and he's younger, and that's good. Hey, if young people don't like history, we have no more history. And so that's the point of this trip, is to get, you might not major in history, although we had one person on this trip who's going to major in history, a couple poli-scis. That's going to keep it alive. If we want to keep the story of history alive, then we have to keep talking about the people who were in it. If we stop talking about the people who were in history, then they die. And so it's our job as history teachers, as educators, to get people excited about history. Maybe that they'll drive by when they're driving through central Pennsylvania, and they'll go to Gettysburg. They'll stop for a little bit. Maybe they'll go into Washington, D.C. and maybe not just go to a Nationals game. Maybe they'll go to the Vietnam Memorial, or the Martin Luther King Memorial. It's really, it's a way of paying respect to those people who did something special.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Brogan. Thank you for your time today, and just sticking around and talking with us for a little bit. I'm going to take it over to you, Isela, with Ms. Vogel.
Thanks, Mia and Mr. Brogan. And now I'm here with Ms. Vogel. So, Ms. Vogel, what do you do here at DSL?
Well, I'm the director of campus ministry, and that means that I oversee all of our faith, service, community, and social justice initiatives school-wide. So, for example, the retreats, I coordinate the retreat program for each class. We have Mass about once every month, every other month, depending on the holidays, the holy days. Prayer services, service projects, giving info out to students about different service opportunities in the city. But then I also oversee LaSallian Youth, which is our club that's open to all students throughout the year. It's just an open door policy. Students can come do all kinds of things, faith, service, community related. One of the things we do every month is the PBJ activity. And so we make about 400 sandwiches every month for Port Ministry, which is really cool. We've had tons of students involved in that. We've had a couple of teams. The basketball team, the soccer team has been in there to help make sandwiches, which is really great. And then Port Ministry Bread Truck will come pick up our sandwiches and they pass them out to people on the south and west side, people who are out on the street. So it's pretty cool that, you know, other people directly benefit from this very simple service activity that we provide every month. So yeah, we do the mission collection.
Yes, I was going to say the mission collections are a big
every
thing,
week.
especially now because now it was before people would just donate out of their pocket, but now because we have Fridays as a $1 dress down, we are actually giving big donations, which I've heard because everybody loves to dress down.
Yeah, we're nearing $10,000 for the year. Last year, at the end of the year, we were right at actually just above 10,000.
Okay.
So we're ahead of our goal, and definitely the dress down days have really helped with that.
Oh yes.
To ensure we get our cash. But every week we choose a different place to send our donation, and it's usually we try to relate it to something that we have going on in school. So like a couple weeks ago, we collected for St. Baldrick's.
Yes.
We have a number of students who help out with the Boys and Girls Club of Chicago, so we recently collected for them. And then, of course, at the end of the year, we will give a large sum of our collection over to our twin school. We have a Lasallian twinned school that we're paired up with in Karen, Eritrea. And so they'll receive a couple thousand from us to help with their ministry because they struggle to get funds down there. So.
And so how did you come about finding DLSL?
Well, it's funny. I actually grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, but I went to a Lasallian high school in Kansas City, the same one that Mr. Wood went to. We're, of course, not at the same time. But when I was in high school, I was in Lasallian Youth.
Okay.
And every summer, the different schools from the region get together for like a summer gathering. We still do this. And so I came to Chicago and met a bunch of kids from De La Salle.
Okay.
And so my high school and De La Salle, we like all of the kids in these two schools, pallet around a lot, and I kept in touch.
Yeah.
So that's kind of when I first learned about De La Salle. And then I eventually moved to Chicago, actually to work at San Miguel, another one of our Lasallian schools, which is a middle school on the south side. But part of my job there was to track their graduates through school. So I would come to De La Salle
A lot to
to
come
meet
over
with
here.
them,
Yeah.
to meet with their teachers, make sure everything was going okay. And so that's kind of how I got to know different staff from here. And eventually the position opened, and so I jumped on it.
So you've been in the Lasallian kind of theme your whole life. Why do you think it's important for us students to learn about that Lasallian and carry it, the Lasallian values and carry it throughout our lives?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just so accessible to everyone. I mean, certainly we're a Catholic school. Lasallian mission is based on the Catholic religion, the Catholic faith, St. John Baptist de La Salle. But it's also, the intention of it is to be open and welcoming to all people. When we think about our values of faith, service, community, and social justice, those are core values that all world religions share,
Yes. And
when-
they'll imply in our whole life, not just in high school, but in our whole life that they will, continue to add on.
Yeah, I think it helps make religion accessible. When you think about like religious tradition, and sometimes we think about, the boring church service or the bad singers, or and sometimes that's really like a turnoff to religion. But if we can think about it in a bigger sense, I think that's what Lasallian mission kind of helps students to do. Then it becomes a little more personal because you have friends, you've done service, you are a part of a movement that's helping with social justice issues. And at least for me, when I was in high school, it helped me to understand what faith was supposed to be about in a way that maybe my family wasn't able to do for me. I just had to learn it myself, and the Salient Mission was a great way to help me do that.
Yeah, and so, Easter season's coming up. It's actually next Sunday. So do you have any traditions that you like to do with your family or that you like to do in preparation for the Easter on Sunday?
Yeah, I like to participate in the different Holy Week activities. I really like Holy Thursday Mass, the washing of the feet. So I'll be going to that this week. I always try to find some kind of this might sound like a Jesus movie,
Okay.
or some kind of I'll rewatch The Passion of the Christ. Right now, there's a series out called The Chosen, which is it's very good. It's sometimes the Jesus movies can be really cheesy.
Yes.
This one really isn't, and they do a great job of just telling the real human story of not just Jesus, but all of his apostles, his followers, his family. And I think the Easter season really kind of is a great time to get in touch with the humanity of who Jesus was, and not just, sometimes we think of this mythical story.
Yeah.
And it can be really hard to access, it just feels too far off. But when we think about Jesus as a real person, and he stood up for love and social justice, and and then he was crucified for it. And so so I always try to do something to kind of get in touch with that story, just to, because it's this is the season, and
It's not always about the Easter bunny.
it's not always, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Vogel, for taking the time and being on the podcast. I know you're a little bit nervous, but that's all right. Everybody is. You're so great, and I just want to appreciate everything that you do here for the school.
Thank you.
And so now we'll hand it over to Mia and I's interview of Mr. Kubek.
Hey guys, we're here with Mr. Kubek, the baseball coach, so we're just going to ask him a few questions. So, Mr. Kubek, how did you find out about the
So I went to De La Salle. I graduated in 2014. After that, I went off to college. Went to Joliet Junior College, and after that, I went to Calumet College of St. Joe's. I graduated from there. After that, I went out to California and played in the California Winter Baseball League, which is a professional league. After that, I was signed by the Schaumburg Boomers, had a short stint with them. So then after that, I started getting into teaching. I was a substitute CPS at a school right down the block here at Chico McClellan. And when I was there, I reached out to the coach that was there at the time, wanted to get back to coaching, just get coaching for the first time, brought me on staff. So this is my 4th year now on staff at USL, and my 2nd year teaching.
How's it going so far, you think?
I like it. It's not really like work. I mean, obviously, you get the work done and whatnot, but when you come to work, you get to be around friends. A lot of teachers are my friends. Kids are awesome. It's pretty much everything I expected out of De La Salle, and I'm so happy to be here. It's great.
What's the season this year? What's the record?
So right now, as of April, what is this, March 31st, we are 7 games in, 4-3. This week, we beat Loyola, which is a big conference win for us. We lost to St. Rita. It's a tough one, 8-6. We just beat ourselves in that game. And tomorrow, which will be April 1st, we have a huge game against St. Lawrence, who is ranked number 3 right now in the state. So, yeah, right now 4-3, and I think it's going to look really good for us this year, just by the way we played so far. We looked really good.
So, do you have any expectations for the baseball team, as they continue?
Yeah, so I think this year, we've always looked at this year as 2023 as the year to win the state championship, and I honestly think that we can get to that point because of the talent we have with our infield and just the depth that we have. We only lost 1 kid from last year, and we replaced him with Angelo Schreier, who's just he's the hottest kid on earth right now. So we lost 1 kid, and then we gained actually 4 or 5 more kids that add to that. So it's been really, really good to see just kids come in, especially like we talk about Angelo, coming in and just doing an amazing job for us and taking that role that we didn't know how was going to fill out.
Who are some other players this year that are doing well for you guys so far?
Obviously, there's Kenny Perez, who's just rock solid for us. He comes back next year, which is awesome. Jada Correa, one of the shortstops for us. Nebraska commit. He's one of those kids that's in the lineup, and every time he comes at the bat, he's a threat to, get a big hit for us. Jada Merrill's good left-handed bat, especially at the field we play at. It's only about 295, 300 down the line. So it's nice to have some left-handed bats right there. And yeah, we talk about Angelo and Joey Barbosa, who's I think has the greatest glove in all of IHSA. I've seen the kid make plays that I don't even see how many players make. So it's really nice to see him. And Francisco Rodriguez, who's actually went on the mound for us. He's originally a shortstop, came here, we made him a center fielder. He took over the center field role, and he actually pitched against Loyola and did absolutely amazing. So he's gonna get a lot more time on the mound for us. And one more is Justin Bradley, who last year was up and down from JV to varsity, and this year he's came in a relief role and has really been impressive for us.
Any last words to your players and everyone listening?
I would say just if you guys can come out, support us. We need the support as best we can this year. We have a beautiful field, great scoreboard. It's a great atmosphere if you guys haven't seen it. Coming out to a game, I know 4:30 is a tough time for high school sports for a lot of people to get out here and whatnot, but if you guys can, nice day, come on out, support us, especially with Catholic League. Every game's going to be as we call it, dog fight. So definitely come on out, support us. Go Meteors.
Well,
Thank you so much.
Thanks. We did. Boom.
So, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thanks for the interviewees who had the time to sit down with us, Mr. Brogan, Ms. Vogel, and Mr. Kubek. Mia, did you learn anything interesting about either one of them?
Yeah, so I thought it was really cool how, Mr. Kubek is a grad of D and he came back and coached. But also, he played baseball after D, so he actually played in the California Winter Baseball League, and I thought that was really cool. So shout out to you, Coach Kubek, and we're glad you're here coaching our boys.
Yes, I agree on that one. We hope you guys have a great spring break. Make sure you get your rest. No homework, hopefully, for the most of us.
Yep.
Happy Easter. As always, go Meteors.